Three, two, one. Martin, welcome to the call, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Well, eager to have this conversation. We've been working together for 3, 4 months. Tell the audience a little bit who you are and what you do.
Yes. So my name is Martin. I am the founder and CEO of Limeberry. We are a cold email lead generation agency that primarily work with US-based clients, and I have been running the agency for almost 2 years now.
Beautiful. And why did you join Selfmaster? Because you usually had a running business, you were making good money, but what was going on a little bit in your life?
I joined because I felt like I could perform better. So I think sort of the reasoning in my mind where I wanted to stop procrastinating and sort of avoiding because I noticed specifically the hardest or the highest leverage task, the growth task, the stuff that really sort of grows a business would cost me enormous amounts of uh, power to do, if that makes sense. So um, yeah, long story short, I wanted to fix procrastination and avoidance. I've tried a bunch of stuff and Notion templates, all the good stuff, but I wasn't able to fix it. So I realized I needed help.
But I remember that you were more self-aware than the average entrepreneur because you realized that the mind was the bottleneck, right? Most people believe is a tools problem. If they have the perfect Notion template, they have the perfect app, if they just hustle and grind harder.
Yeah,
But that never works. You
yeah.
already knew that never works, right?
Well, for the audience, I have a master's in sort of human resource management and organizational psychology. So one stumbling upon, I think I saw one of Leon's YouTube videos, and then a week later I booked a call because of the resource and the literature that you're citing to and have built the program on is a lot of stuff that I studied in my master, which I found incredibly interesting. So I knew immediately, like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. This isn't just like some uh, info quick fix stuff at all. And yeah, I was becoming increasingly aware that it was sort of created in my mind because I could have days where I would work 8 hours, have fun, get stuff done, and have no care in the world. And then 2 days later, it would cost me like it would cost me so much to do the bare minimum thing. So I realized like, okay, everything else is consistent. The only difference is my mental state going into it.
And what happened? So we train you, we gave you a tool, we show you a new way of working. And before we go into how we make it happen, what's the actual outcome?
You want the personal or the business outcome first?
Whatever you want to share.
Okay. Well, we doubled the business in terms of revenue. So uh, and we did that while having me working less, working more deliberate, re focusing more on rest and recovery, and being generally more content and sort of more easygoing in life. We sort of went through the process of, so the business outcome is obviously very related to the personal outcome. But the long story short with the business outcome is, yeah, doubling the MRR while working less. And
How much less? Like, how much are you working these days?
so when I joined, I had the sort of I was in a bad loop where I was avoiding and procrastinating and feeling guilty about it. So I would sort of combat that by sitting at the office for like 10, 12 hours per day, dicking around. Um, to be honest. And then I would burn out and like not do anything for 2 days, and then the cycle would repeat itself. And now we sort of put the lowest barrier on. So we sort of experimented, but hitting the highest MRR in October, I was working 3 hours per day minimum,
Damn.
and then done.
Incredible. And also November, right? 2 months in a row.
Yeah, but in November we started experimenting with upping the workload from 3 to like 4 to 5, and
Okay.
then sort of testing and seeing how that works. But yeah, the first record-breaking month came from 3 hours daily deliberate work.
Damn, that tells you how effective it is to actually ring fence your work and actually prime yourself to perform, which is at the core of Self-Mastered. So instead of dicking
Yeah,
around, you're very deliberate and then you work as hard as you rest and you actually learn how to rest, correct?
yeah. This was a big bottleneck for me because I would have had like a racing mind of sort of always chasing and optimizing and feeling guilty about not working. I had this, I don't know where it came from, like huge expectations that I would like work creative work 12 hours per day and then like a robot. So the second we sort of looked at what actually needs to get done, how fast can you do it, and then the benefit of deliberate rest and recovery. Um, you always use the metaphor of a Olympic athlete
Hmm.
not training 24/7. So sort of I had to relearn how to have some fun and just relax and like do just watch a movie and have a great time, right? And then when it comes back to Monday, it's like you're actually pumped to get back to work. So that was a big one for me.
Beautiful. And let's go into the
And the
personals
sleep.
and the sleep. So let's go into the personal because on top of taking more time off, we really train you with very deep psychological frameworks and protocols that, kind of rebuild you from the inside out. So what has happened on the personal side?
Yeah, what has not happened on the personal side. This is like I doubled my business and all that shit's cool, but the personal changes is way more feels like a way bigger win for me. I joined to sort of quit procrastinating and avoiding, but upon working on the psychological and physiological stuff, I sort of recovered or discovered this pattern, like I mentioned briefly, of always chasing and always optimizing. Like looking back, you sort of started to wonder um, how long this has been going on, and it's before the agency, right? So we worked on rest and recovery. We fixed my sleep, which was very bad. I'm consistently sleeping 7, 8 hours per night now, which is great.
I told you the
Um,
NASA protocols always work. It's so
yeah,
effective.
yeah. And I meditate daily. Starting to, I hated it. Now I like look forward to it. It's so yeah, I don't know. It's very hard to put in, but all of this stuff all at once sort of led to some sort of spiritual uh, rebranding or awakening. It came to a point where sort of I started to releasing some suppressed emotions from the past, which was also like a out of this world experience. But yeah,
Love it. But that is
yeah.
that is the most important work that people don't realize they need. Because we've been told, as you very well said, that you got to hustle 12 hours a day and eventually you figure it out. But what typically happens is that you hit a biological ceiling, your stress capacity just plummets, you literally burn out, and you have crazy negative thoughts about yourself, about the world, about the business, and everything seems doomed. And the only thing that's going on is that you still haven't trained the right performance skills. Because I remember when we first started working together, you had this negative view. And now we've trained you with metacognition to see thoughts for what they are, not you,
Mhm.
and decide whether you pay attention to it. And how does that change your relationship, with your self-doubt, your suppressed emotions, like anything you want to share in terms of being grounded in yourself, which is the highest quality in any person.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest shift comes from sort of letting go and
Mhm.
detaching. And as I mentioned, like we did good with the business, but far more or a far better win for me is what I've gone through because if the business goes to shit or if I want to do something else, like I feel like I've got the mental tools and capabilities now to do whatever it is that I want. Like it's been freeing and liberating in some sort of way. And as you sort of release repressed emotions or past trauma or whatever it is that you might be carrying, or you sort of let aside the negative self-talk and you start building self-belief and self-efficacy, you sort of realize that it's all in the mind. It's just mind over matter, and that's the entire thing holding 95% of founders back.
Hmm.
Um,
And it's not
so
mindset. So whoever is listening to this, we're not talking about mindset. We're not talking about thinking positively. That is surface level self-development guru stuff.
yeah,
Talking about deeper things. How would you describe them?
well, I would. You're basically increasing your frequency, right?
Your
Your
awareness.
yeah, your awareness, your consciousness, depending on probably how aware you are, you might sort of go through like, what the fuck is this brave new world? Adopting, starting to sort of operate more from a place of calmness and presence, and instead of fear, is a big
Mhm.
thing, in my opinion. I think people who perform, let's say they don't have self-compassion or what it is, that they operate from a place of fear as opposed to a place of joy and curiosity, which makes everything so much harder than it has to be. Like, you have people working 12, 14 hours per day for years without being burnt out or anything because they have the right approach to doing it. So frequency, consciousness, awareness, all very big things, right? And a byproduct of all of this, like scaling the business, is that like the whatever anxiety or rumination that I would struggle with before has significantly decreased, and the rest is just taking its time, right? To learn how what to let go and what to keep reinforcing.
That's so beautiful. We give you tools to track those states. So if you had to quantify how much less anxiety or self-doubt you have based on the rewarding tool and everything, how would you rate it? Like, what is your qualitative assessment?
Uh, when it comes to like my limiting beliefs and self doubts are now completely eliminated, which
Damn,
is
that's massive.
yeah, that's massive, because I was the most critical dude ever. Like I I didn't like I would be making 15K per month, and I didn't even think that it was possible to make 20K per, like so
Hmm.
so and it's so strange because you have these things that would limit you for years, and then suddenly one day you just think back and like, oh, I don't think like that anymore. It's not like a switch or anything big that happens. It's just like someday it just fades out of your consciousness because you've elevated above it or whatever. Um,
What happened though? Now you know the science of it. When a thought is not repeated,
yeah,
it's pruned. So it's neuroplasticity rewiring your brain for a better structure. So that is literally how we prove well, one of the ways neuroplasticity works is literally
yeah,
you're hit with the same trigger, but you do not emit the same output. You don't think that way anymore. That's
yes,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Before you have a trigger
100%.
to doubt yourself, is like, whoa, 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 that's not who I am anymore.
Yeah,
And I think what's very
and
exciting too is metacognition, right? Because you can choose your behavior, you can choose your emotions.
yeah, and to me, like, I think one of the big ones coming in was that I would have sort of believing every thought or emotion that would pop up, right? So I would basically, I sign a client, I'd be here. I'd lose a client, I'd be here. It was just like bam, 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 like a slave to whatever happened uh, around me, basically. And now it's sort of come to a point like you'll never feel good all of the time. Like, you still might lose a client, and then you can sort of feel your mind starting to catastrophize, and you just be like, yeah, nice try, but
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
that doesn't serve me right now. We got more important stuff to do than feel sorry for ourselves or whatever it is that you want me to do, right? Um, and then yeah, whatever 90 seconds or 2 minutes later, and you've completely forgotten it. So that is huge too. And I think when it comes to like one of the biggest things when it comes to the business that sort of stems from the personal stuff is the emotional detachment from
Hmm.
everything as well, right? Just to understand that. I think that was a big one for me to understand that sort of I am not my business. Like what you're saying is excellent is impersonal, and having some emotional detachment from that really helped sort of the work, and it made stuff a lot more fun, right? Because it's not that deep anymore.
Yeah. Because now you're in control. Now you've mastered the highest cognitive skill that is, which is metacognition. It's literally being able to think about your thoughts, think about your emotions, assess how useful those are, and then actually do the behavior that leads to where you want to go. Most people lose a client, they go into an emotional loop that lasts for a few days, if not weeks, right? Which only creates further problems. You can realize that that happened. You can isolate the negative emotion, let it go, and continue working. And that is
Yeah,
the highest order skill. And it
yeah,
even helps you with behavior, right? So you mentioned to me the other day that you quit Zen after 10 years of using.
yeah. So I'm Scandinavian. We've been doing that stuff for a very long time. I started when I was 15, I think. So yeah, it's 10 plus years of going with that one, and uh, I think it was one of the collab calls, and you saw me pop one in, and you were like, "Dude, stop that!" And I was like, "Yeah, maybe I should." And I did some sort of research, and I see how that was messing up the dopamine receptors, like
Hmm.
artificial dopamine at all times. So it's like that's not good for you at all, and actually putting you in sort of a fight or flight, hyper aroused state.
Hmm.
And yeah, when you're already sort of when I joined in this anxious state and you struggle to sleep, I was like, okay, it would be hella stupid of me to keep doing this one and then complain about not sleeping. So it's just like, yeah, got rid of it. I've been now, yeah, 2.5 months without. So
Dude, then it worked very fast. Well done. Congrats. It's
thank
been
you.
10 years. So if you had to, this past 3 months, how much progress would you say you've done? The equivalent of how much? Like how would you rate it if someone is trying to understand? Because a lot of these topics, if you're not self-aware enough, you don't know what we're talking about. So if we have to quantify it,
Yeah.
how does that feel?
Dude, I would have. I can't really like I'm 29 years old. I've made more progress in 3 months than I have in my 10, 15 years
Really?
of
Wow.
yeah, of course.
Wow.
Because it's like you're getting business coaching and personal coaching and mental and yeah, mental, spiritual, everything all at once. So yeah, by far the best investment I've ever done. I've
Mm.
gotten like there is this book on, and I don't want to take this into the anxiety stuff, but there's a book on anxiety that sort of is called At Last Alive. And I really
Hmm.
like the topic of that book because it's sort of like you're almost getting your life back.
Hmm.
And that is how I would describe this. Like you just think clearly, you understand who you are better, your goals, what's good for you, what's not good for you. It's just purpose, direction, and clarity.
I love that, dude. That really means a lot. That really means a lot. I mean, that has been always the goal is to create the ultimate methodology so we can really, really do work and not leave any stone unturned.
Yeah,
Because as we always say, personal development and performance optimization doesn't typically work because it's just one-sided. It's either
yeah,
you have a health problem, maybe you have a mental side of things, but no one is really rewarding it 360 like we are. And this is why what you just said means a lot to me, because that's how's always been the goal, right? And that's we improve the product every year because we get deeper into the research in order to do this. And last question, well, they have two questions. One is, we're very data driven, like the way we schedule or kind of structure all the transformation. How did you find working with the tools, with the dashboard, with the end of week reports? How do you think that help you kind of visualize progress?
Yeah, I normally I do very well with sort of added homework. No, very bad, I mean. But coming from my scientific background, I sort of immediately saw the benefit of it, like tracking your work, end of day reporting, all of that stuff. So I sort of adhered to it as best as I could, and it's been. I actually went back to the end of day reporting from August, so 4 months ago today, sort of see the difference in my performance and stuff. So it's been very helpful. Um, it's data driven. It's also scientifically backed. We don't do anything unless there is high return to it, and I
Mhm.
think it works very, very well.
I love that.
And
I love
and
that.
then and then over time, you sort of start figuring out what sort of works well for you, and you can sort of customize it a little bit. So that's also been very beneficial.
And who would you say this is for? What kind of entrepreneur
And
can benefit from this?
I'd say anybody, truly anybody. Yeah, I think it depends. Like I got a huge ROI for sure because I doubled my business, but I sort of got a big piece of my life back as well. But I think like even if you're the most in control of your mind or whatever, like you see an instant ROI because for anybody going into this program, I can 100% confidently say that there is stuff that you don't know or stuff that will help you, whether your bottleneck is spiritual, mental, execution wise, strategic planning, a little bit of both, whatever it has to be. I think anybody will see a high return on this.
I appreciate that tremendously. Martin, absolute pleasure working with you in the past 3, 4 months. Now, this
Likewise.
huge transformation is only getting started, my friend. Now is when we're going to be compounding those high order cognitive skills. Now we're going to be really accelerating. So, yeah, revenue feels small, even though we doubled based on how huge the transformation is.
Yeah.
But what happens when we compound this 6 more months, 9 more months, 3 more years?
I'd say I am, well, this is the first sort of investment I've done. And that would be also the exact same reasoning, like the compounding effect of doing something like this, not just in revenue wise, but the amount of sort of goals, like the quality of life. If you sort of master yourself as an elite entrepreneur, you will not only significantly increase your likelihood of achieving your goals, but you'll probably have way more fun doing so. And you'll have way more fun in your personal life because you'll be more present and you'll be more aware and you'll probably be a better son or husband or wife or father or whatever the heck that you are while doing so as well. So onwards, I'm stoked, and I hope this my story, my case study gets at least one or two guys to join, and I want to see you inside the program.
Dude, I would love to. Elite people like you. That's exactly why we do this. I truly
Yeah,
appreciate you jumping in. It's always an absolute pleasure.
absolutely,
So now let's keep working and let's keep winning. All right.
for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a fantastic day. Cheers.